I do a lot of things. So very quickly, what I do is I serve. So through the church, there's a large community that we serve, and also through the school. And I'm there for whatever needs they have, and whatever I cannot do, I try to connect them to someone. So I do a lot of counseling, I do a lot of coaching, I do a lot of directing people. Sometimes I'm there with people just to be there when they need someone to talk to. But also there's a lot of administration. So I run boards, I run committees, I do fundraising, there's a staff of 70 people, and I lead some of that. So it's a lot of things that I do. So my typical day, again, I'm a pastor. So usually my typical day starts when I wake up. Now I have to drive my kids to school. So I have a kid that goes to Edgewood and he doesn't have a car. So I have to wake up very early and take him there. But usually it starts, I get up in the morning and it's kind of like my time with God. I pray, I pray for the day. I usually look at my schedule, and depending on what meetings I have, I pray for that. Maybe I know that I might have a difficult meeting or I'm dealing with a difficult situation. So I try to just prepare myself with the Lord. But then it changes from day to day. It's never, I think Sundays is probably the same. That is the day that is very routine. I come to the church, I preach, I meet with people. I usually have lunch with a family from the church after the service, and then I take my Sunday nap. but then the rest of the week, it can be from dealing with an emergency, where maybe I even have to cancel some meetings because someone went to the hospital and then want me to be there. It can be something where someone calls me that, they have an argument with a spouse. So I spend time talking to this person. But it can be something where dealing with someone at work. Maybe that there's a situation here, at the school, again, in the church, there's 70 employees and I have to deal with, I'm almost like HR, I have to deal with a difficult situation. So it varies from time to time, but I'm always dealing with people. So one thing that doesn't change is I'm always working with people or talking to people, to the point where sometimes when I get home at night, it's like, I don't want to talk to anyone, because I've been talking to people all day. Growing up, I did not want to be a pastor. I grew up in the church, but I didn't want to go to become a pastor. As a matter of fact, I went to the University of Wisconsin here in Madison and majored in political science and international relations. And my goal was to go to law school. As a matter of fact, I applied to law school. I got accepted. But during my college, when I was going to college, I was actually going to the church that I pastor, Lighthouse Church, just as a member. I was helping a lot with the youth group, and I love serving. What I noticed is that I really enjoy serving the youth. And also the church that I pastor now, Lighthouse, is a bilingual church. They do everything in English and Spanish. The pastor at the time, the former senior pastor, he didn't speak any Spanish. So he will ask me to be his translator. So he will say, hey, I had to meet this family that doesn't speak English. Will you come with me and translate for me? And I'll say, yeah. Then on Sundays, he will say, hey, Marcio, there's no translator for this Sunday. Will you translate the message for me on Sunday? And I said, sure, if I can help, that's good. And then he will go and visit families twice a week, and I will go with him. And I did that for about 2 years. So, for 2 years, without really knowing it, I'm translating counseling meetings, I'm translating Sunday services, I'm translating visits and hospitals and things like that. And to the point where people were thinking I was a pastor, and I was like, no, I'm just helping this guy translate. But then since I was so involved in the church, helping with the youth group, translating a lot of the things, I like what I was doing. I like helping people. I saw how we will go to a family, for example, that was struggling with a special situation, and through prayer and the support of the pastor, this family will move forward, and I enjoy that. So when I was finishing my college degree and about to go to law school, I made a decision, and I said, I was doing an internship, kind of having to do with my job, and I was doing an internship during the day in New York. And I was going to a church in the afternoon. And I noticed that all day at the internship, I couldn't wait for 5 p.m. to get there so that I can go to the church and serve. And after a few months of doing that, I called my wife. I made 3 phone calls. I called my wife, I called my pastor, and I called my parents. And I said, I don't want to be an attorney. I want to serve in the church. And here's where I am. You know, being a pastor is a difficult job because there's you see a lot of hard and difficult things that are happening with a lot of families. But what I love most is when in the midst of a difficulty, you see breakthrough, or you see something good happening, or, like I said, a parent can call me, or a teenager can call me because they're thinking about suicide, or their child is thinking about suicide, and it's difficult. Sometimes I don't even know how to handle the situation. But at the end, when you see that something good happened, that there was a result, and that you were able to play a role in that, that is what is great. And I love it, so I love the praise here at Church Word. I love the praise reports when out of something difficult, something good was able to happen. So that's what I do it. That's what keeps you going. That's why you want to go again and visit someone else, because, I try to bring hope to people. And when you see their lives change, I don't think you can put a price to that. The hardest part of my job, for me, I will say, is I cannot leave work at work. So my job is not at 8 to 5, and sometimes even I can be on a vacation. For example, with my family, even in another country, and I'm thinking about this marriage that I'm helping back home that is struggling, and even though I might be on a vacation and enjoying my family, I'm thinking about them. My finances might be good, but I'm thinking about the church member or the family that I'm helping, that they don't know how to pay rent. My marriage can be good. My children can be doing good, but I'm thinking about that other family. So it seems like there's hours of weight over my shoulder because of the situations that we are dealing. And sometimes, I'll be honest, my wife is also involved a lot in what I do. Sometimes my children can see, for example, their mother and me crying, and they're like, what happened? Is something wrong? And they're like, yeah, it has nothing to do with us. It's someone else. This happened. And I become like a father to many people. So, when people pass away, I'm close to a lot of people. I have to go to hospitals sometimes to say goodbye to someone. And so it's, I see a lot of pain, and sometimes I carry that weight. And I would say that is the difficult part. And the first thing that we need to know is that I'm doing this for God, so this is not just a job. This is really like a calling, and I don't think everybody's called to do this. I mean, you don't have to be a pastor, to be a Christian. I think it's a specific calling, but you need to be passionate for God, because if you don't have that passion for the Lord, and if you don't have that desire to serve Him, it's going to be very difficult to keep going. I keep doing what I'm doing because I love God and I do it for Him. But then the other thing, and they don't teach you this in seminary, is that when you become a pastor and a minister, you're thinking, I want to help people, I want to visit people, I want to pray for people, I want to preach on Sundays. You do a lot more than that. I do a lot with administration. Sometimes I say I should have majored in social work. Then I said I should have been a psychology major. Then I said I should have do something with business administration, or I should have done. I mean, it's almost like you have to be an expert on. You don't have to be an expert on everything, but you need to know a little bit about everything. So a lot of the times, work in the ministry is budgets, committees, boards, administration, finances, a lot of fundraising, a lot of that is not oftentimes what you wanted to do or what you prepare yourself to do. So working in the ministry encompasses a lot of things. Interesting challenge. I have a good relationship with my mother. I love my mother. She's my mother. She was my friend. She's everything. Back in 2001, she had a car accident. And in the car accident, she ended up being quadriplegic from the neck down. She was already, she was older. So I remember her driving. I remember playing with her. I remember running with her. She used to love hiking and all of this. And I was already a pastor. And this happened close to Christmas time. And what my mother did is during Christmas, she will always fill her pickup truck. She used to have a pickup truck with gifts, and she would go to the poor neighborhoods. This is in Honduras, and deliver gifts to the people in need. And she had this very serious car accident when she was on the way to do this. And for me, the challenge was that I had a challenge with my faith. I was mad at God, and you know, and I was like, how can I be a pastor and be mad at God? And she was never gonna walk again. And I went through several months where I almost felt like a hypocrite, because I was supposed to be here encouraging you and telling you have hope, when I was feeling lost and empty within me. I couldn't understand, you know, the typical why do bad things happen to good people, and how do I continue to talk about this God that at that time I felt like disappointed me, and why God. And so it was a challenge. And in all of this, one way that I overcome it was I came to God. You know, again, I'm a pastor, you know, my job is a pastor. So I prayed a lot. I was honest with God. I mean, I didn't come to God with this, you know, very ritual prayer. It was, why God? I'm mad at you, you know, like, and, but then the other thing that I did that helped me a lot, and I think everybody should do this, is I had a mentor. I have someone that I could go to, that I know could be firm with me, with love, that could tell me what was right. But I went and pretty much vented with this person. This person listened to me, loved me, corrected me when he needed to correct me, but, you know, but loved me. And I think this person really helped me move ahead. So I think whatever the challenge that you have, it's always good to go to someone that maybe is not an expert in that area that you're dealing with, but has life experience that can come alongside with you and help you navigate during this time. Sometimes challenges, the only way to overcome them is there's time. It's gonna take some time. And it's good during that time that you're confused, you're upset, you're angry, you're fearful, to have someone that you can hold a hand with that can point you in the right directions, because it's usually in the midst of challenges where you can make a lot of mistakes. And this person said to me, Marcio, you need to be careful here. You need to try this, do this. And I trusted this person. And sometimes I did what he asked me to do, even though I didn't want to do it. In the long term, it helped me a lot. It's always good to talk to someone. You know, I think a mistake that we make is that we try to isolate ourselves when we're going through a difficulty or a challenge. And we see everything through that filter of whatever the problem is or the challenge is. We don't see things clearly. And we need someone that we know is going to lead us in the right direction, that can see with a different perspective. Even if we're angry, even if we don't want to answer the phone for that person. I remember I told someone, you know, if I'm ever angry and I don't want to answer, you know, just send me text, because most likely I'll read those, you know, but even if I don't want to answer. So it's always good to seek someone and don't go through the challenge alone. Maybe it's because I'm a person of faith. I always tell people that, and it sounds like a cliche, but there's always hope, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And I was like the saying, you know, if you're going through hell, keep going, you know, until you get to the other side. So I try to help people be positive. And I know it's not easy to say that to people. And it's, actually, it might be easy to say it, but it's not easy to put it into practice. But I try to tell people to live one day at a time. You know, it's difficult to say, hey, everything is going to be good for the rest of your life. No, it's just, you know, today, just try to take that step. Today, pray. Today, go on a walk. You know, sometimes for some people, it might not even be today. It's like for the next hour. Try to stay positive for the next hour. You know, try to go on a walk for the next hour, you know, and it's just live moment by moment. And when you feel like you're sinking again, go to that fight again. And you have to fight to keep going, but you're not fighting alone. But it's going to be one day at a time. One day at a time. So very quickly, again, as a person of faith, and I mentioned earlier that the job of a pastor is very draining. There's a lot of weight. And usually when you're a minister, whether you're a man or a woman, if you're a minister, they say that by the time you're worn out, your spouse has been worn out for a couple of years already. Because a lot of the weight of a minister goes to your spouse. So one of the advices, number one, is take time away just for your spouse. And in my case, because I do a lot in the city, it's very hard for me to just be free with my spouse if I stay in Madison. So I need to get away where no one knows me, where no one is going to say, hey, Pastor Marcio. And sometimes it requires an investment, in a vacation or going and staying in a hotel. So I try to spend a lot of time with my family where we get out, where people cannot reach me, where I'm not in the phone, where we can just get out so that I can try to just let my family, especially my spouse, know that you matter. The other thing is, especially again, in my area of job as a minister, is I need to let the church know that my wife and family come first. But again, this is relationship romantically, is that my wife needs to know that she is more important than any problem, any issue, whatever is going through. Not that I'm heartless or, sometimes pastor said, hey, I'm here for any emergency, but sometimes I'm not there. I'm not there because I'm with my wife. Very quickly, there was a time that I was very busy and my wife felt like I was having an affair with the church. The mistress was the church, and she was actually getting upset at the church because it's the church that is taking away my husband. So I had to change my way of doing things, and actually said to the church, I'm not going to be at this event because I'm going to be with my wife. I'm not going to be at this other thing because I'm going to be with my wife. And yeah, there was a time that they fought. It's like, where are you? But when they see that our marriage is strong, they see that, hey, we'd rather have a strong marriage than a pastor that is always here with a failed marriage. So one is spend time away with your family. Two, let your spouse know that she is the number one. And three, something that I've done with my wife that has been great is we do a lot of, we talk to a counselor. We go to therapy, and you think, isn't only people that are having difficult situations that talk to a therapist? No, sometimes you just need to go there. We started going to a therapy because we were going through a struggle. We needed help. All marriages need help. But, we enjoy having someone else help us in our relationship. And after a while, we will do therapy. Insurance was paying for it, so we will just do it. And it almost became daytime. We're like, in the middle of the day, we will go to the therapist and we will talk about our issues. And that helped us a lot. In marriage, it's okay to go to someone and say, hey, we need help. We don't have all the answers. And that helped my marriage a lot, just to be able to have someone else look into our marriage and tell us the truth about what he or she sees in our marriage. And it was a blessing. So get help. Get help with counselors if you have to. It doesn't mean that your marriage is horrible. You're going to get divorced. Spend time with your wife away from work and let her know, or him, that he or she is more important than whatever job or business you have. First, know what your goals are. Because when we're young, we're just, oh, she's pretty and I like her and na. But, her goals, your goals can be very different. An example can be, hey, I want to go to college. This person doesn't want to go to college. I want to have children in the future. This person doesn't. So know what your goals are and share them with that person. Number two, listen, not only talk, but you need to listen. And number three, I think faith. Again, I'm a person of faith. Faith is very important because any relationship is going to have hardships. And without God, I think it's very difficult to have a relationship. I would say listen, but listen not to correct. Many people listen to correct you. Listen to learn. And then, again, it's always good, whether it's at work, sometimes even in marriage or whatever situation you're dealing with, sometimes it's good to bring a neutral person because, again, you do everything through the filter of what your feelings are. So it's good to bring another perspective. And one thing that I think is very important is never, ever try to resolve conflict when you are angry. Sleep on it, like they say, wait some time. One thing that I tell people to do is write everything down. And then even when you're angry, write everything down, but don't give that letter or don't share that with anyone. And then read it again the following day. And I guarantee you that you're going to say, thank God I did not share or said this to the other person, because there's a lot of things that I wouldn't say now. So wait, don't make decisions. Don't try to solve the situation at a moment. Even if you really need to do that with your boss, for example, I will say, talk to your boss and say, I don't feel like I can talk right now. Can we please talk about this tomorrow? And say when I'm cooled down. So wait. And in my case, I will say spend time prayer, and then the next day come where you can actually have a clear mind. You can even take notes. You can be more specific about what you want to say. And right now it's so easy, because we have the phone. We can send a text. We can send a Facebook message. It's like we can communicate immediately. Before, you almost have to wait. You have to drive for 2 hours to get home and then talk about it. But now you can just respond immediately, which gets us even more in trouble, I think. Again, I think for people and organizations, when you reach out to the organizations, listen. I guess with an organization is like learn more about who they are. If you're going to reach out to an organization, it's not like you can listen to what the organization is saying, but go to their website, find out who they are, what they do, why they do, what are their values. Many organizations, especially if you go to their websites, they will have core values. And so learn that when you go, so that you understand when you go to the organization what they believe, what and how they respond to things. But the same with relationships, you need to listen to who they are and understand that relationships are two ways. I don't want to have a relationship with you because I want the benefit of it. Sometimes you're going to have to give in a relationship. Sometimes, you take some, but that's how it is. Sometimes it's about me. Sometimes it's going to be about you, depending on the season of that relationship. So understand that, it's never going to be about one person winning or the other one losing. Relationships are about sharing, about compromising, and about listening to each other, and understanding that sometimes I'm going to be there to help you and sometimes you're going to be there to help me. And that's how we're going to do it. I used to hate networking because believe it or not, I'm an introverted person. And that's probably why I like serving, because if I went to an event, you would never see me talking to someone. I would be serving somewhere. Instead of talking, I'd rather move the chairs because I did not know what to say to people. But one thing that I did that I hope many young people will do, and other people, mentors will be there, is I actually asked someone, and I was already an adult, I asked someone if I can follow them around. And I saw someone that I knew, that this person knew a lot of people. He was very good at networking. And I said, is it okay if I shadow you? And this person, a friend of mine, said, yeah, come, go ahead and come with me. So I would encourage young people, find someone that, almost like an internship, someone that will be willing to bring you along to meetings. And you can just see how they talk, see what they do, and you can learn a lot from those things. And again, in this regard, I encourage people who are good at networking, give up of your time. You don't have to change the meeting. It's just about, is it okay if I bring someone to the meeting just so they can see how we interact and things like that. And that is huge, because it's a learning experience that you don't learn. You cannot learn it through reading a book or doing all of this. Is hands-on practice. So I would say find a mentor that can help you in that area by actually doing it. Shadow someone. For me, again, I'm a person of faith. There's a verse in the Bible that says that we should go the extra mile. So when I think about work ethic, is that you don't settle for the minimum, but you try to do your best. And sometimes that means that I'm going to work maybe a little harder than others. I'm going to stay a little later than others. There's another verse that actually says that everything that you do, do it unto the Lord. So when I work, I don't think, hey, I'm doing it for Diane, I'm doing it for this corporation, I'm doing it for Lighthouse, I'm doing it for God. So whether they treat me good or not, I'm always going to do my best, and if I have to stay a little longer, I'll stay a little longer. If I have to, if I see everybody else working, maybe not as hard, it doesn't mean that, hey, we get paid the same and I do more work. That's okay. Just, it means going the extra mile, being different. If you work in a business, CEOs, people, direct managers, they notice those people that work extra. And Maybe you don't get a reward immediately, but you will see that you will get rewarded. Be teachable. In other words, go to that place with a desire to learn. We don't know it all, so be teachable. Then be a team player. Most places where you go and work, most likely you're not going to be alone. There's going to be others, and it doesn't mean that you have to be best friends with everyone, but you can collaborate. And even if you don't like the person that you're collaborating with, it's going to be a lot more easier to work with that person when you guys collaborate than when you are not a team player. So teachable, team player, be punctual. Punctuality is good. And I'm saying this as a Latino, and there's a joke that Latinos are always late, but being punctual is very important because it's part of you respecting other people's finances and business when you're punctual. Be respectful. That's, I think, very important everywhere you go, whether you're a manager, whether you're starting, whether you work at a place that pays you a lot or a place that doesn't pay you a lot. Be respectful wherever you are. And again, I guess the last thing that I will say is do all things through the Lord. I think when your perspective is, I'm not working for the company or for this, but I'm doing my best for God, I think it changes your work ethic. It changes how you do things. If you are doing, what I say, if you're being teachable, if you're working hard, if you're punctual, those are the things that managers and CEOs are going to see to get promoted. But something that you can do is, I would say, talk to the manager, talk to the director, talk to the CEO, and ask them, what are some of the things that I can do that will help me get ahead in this business? That will show the manager or the CEO that you're invested in the company or the business or whatever it is. That will show them that you're interested in learning, because it's not like, hey, I want a promotion just because I'm good. No, it's like, what can I do? What are the things that you think I need to do in order to get ahead? And then work hard on those things. So if I talk to you and you tell me, hey, I think you need to do better in this, then take a class. Do something that shows those people that you want to go ahead and do it. And they'll say, hey, this person is willing to go the extra mile to get ahead. So everyone has made a mistake. So recognize that you made a mistake. So I actually like it when someone comes to me and they said, Pastor Marcio, I made a mistake. I made a mistake in this and this and that, instead of hiding out, because I recognize that, they're human. But then I will say, let people know that you made a mistake, and then ask again, like I said before, how to get a promotion, what can I do? Said, I made a mistake, and then ask, what can I do to fix, the mistake that I've made? Oftentimes I tell people that when you make a mistake, it's like throwing a can of paint in the floor. When the paint falls into the floor, it spreads all over the place. So sometimes you need to think, where did the paint spread? And go to all those people and apologize, say, I made a mistake, I am not perfect, and what can I do to repair the damage that I have done? Sometimes they'll tell you, hey, there's nothing you can do, and then all you can do is say, sorry, but then move forward, but try to work on the damage that you have caused because of the mistake, knowing that you are not, that other people are not better than you just because you made a mistake. You're still a good person, there's still a purpose for you, there's still a plan, and then learn from that mistake. I think if I see someone that makes a mistake that is working for me, and I see that this person tries to remedy that mistake and that learns from that mistake, I will say, this is someone that I want in my team, in my leading my company, and etc.